We are live, guys. Welcome to day 21. Day 21 of Miracle March. What an amazing few days. And I say few because it feels like time flew. It feels like time just like we teleported and now we're here. And so if this is your first time joining us, Miracle March is an intentional month of transforming minds by influencing, motivating, and coaching aspiring entrepreneurs while empowering them with tools to succeed. And we have been empowering so many people in giving them tools, and clarity has been one of the main things that most people have been able to get out of these sessions. And so I look forward to our thriving guests that we have in the building here today, back in the studio. Iffy, what's going on, girl?
Hi, Cass.
Hey, hey, how you
How
doing?
are you?
I'm doing
Okay,
amazing.
Cass,
Tell
let me
me.
tell you. Let me tell you. I believe that I manifested this moment. I know you do this every year. That's what you think, but I believe I manifested this moment. Let me tell you why.
Tell me.
Ever since, okay, so I joined up to end of June, right? And then
Uh-huh.
I've been listening to you, whether through Sub Two or through you and Carlos. And I kept thinking, how can I get to have a one-on-one session with this guy? I looked at your coaching program. It's amazing, but I'm like, I'm as broke can be. I can't pay for it right now, but I need to get on a one-on-one with this guy. How can I do? And I've been thinking and thinking about it. And I randomly happened to be on the Daily Dial where you talked about this opportunity. I hadn't been in Sub 2 last year, March. So the minute the link dropped, boom, I was on there. I'm like, when's my day off? I probably was the fifth person to sign because I'm like looking at my day off. What I manifested this moment. I'm proud of myself.
I believe you did. I honestly believe you did. Because it took 3 minutes. There was a 3 minute window where like all the appointments was gone. All 31 was gone.
like that.
Yeah.
Because I was off last week, but my kid has a doctor's appointment. So I thought, should I move it? And by the time I went back, there were like two slots. In the time I'm thinking, should I move it? Two slots. And I was like, I'm doing this. And then okay. But then let me tell you something. On the Daily Dial, the two or three reasons why my camera is never on your session specifically.
Tell me. I want to hear
Okay,
this.
all right. Listen, you can't call me out after I tell you this. Okay. Reason number one. Reason number one is depending on when the time change happens. I'm in the ICU, so for privacy reasons, I don't turn on my
Sure.
camera.
Yeah.
The major reason is I'm probably bawling my eyes out, and so I'm not going to turn my camera on. So why I bring this up is, I snagged this spot, and I'm like, I manifested this, I got this, and then you send us a thing saying, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I got this private one-on-one session. It's just going to be me and Kiss. I got this. By the way, I'm streaming it on YouTube, and I went, no, no. I mean, I don't turn on my camera, and now he's gonna like stream. Yeah, so yeah. I'm like, should I can't? Nope, not canceling. I'm doing this.
You're
I
here
am
and you're doing it.
shamelessly break my way into glory.
And you're doing it. And
I'm doing it.
let me tell you that we have now made another entry point, first of all, to a coaching program that you can be a part of. That
Okay.
one is more affordable,
Okay.
and it's a lifetime coaching program. At first it was going to be for 12 months, but I
Yeah.
decided that when I think about transformation, when I think about what the journey that someone has to go through to change, at first I said I need at least a year for
Mm,
someone to change, right? Because just to keep people motivated, to keep them in tune and just keep them
yeah.
going. But then I thought about it, and what happens after that year? Like what happens, because some of my clients, even right now in the high performance coaching program, some of them, they I always get the text like, man, I miss you so much. Like, I wish
Oh.
we could meet back and get back on calls and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, well, why not create something where everyone could stay, where
Mhm.
everyone, they're able to stay plugged in. My man Nick, what's up, bro? We got to get you in there, bro. See, Nick is one of my high performance
I
alumni.
have heard of him, and I've heard good things of him.
Nick is amazing. He's a
Yeah.
social media guru at this point.
Guru. Yep, I've heard.
He's always giving me tips and tricks like, hey bro, you should do this. And so I'm blessed and privileged to have someone like Nick, and
Good.
many other, who I would say, superstars, be a part of, trust me enough to be a part of the high performance program. But the Purpose Ways group coaching program is, it's more of an entry level program, but it's
Okay.
designed to help persons get that base mindset, because the high performance coaching, I want that to be for people who are doing deals, and we're also going to be implementing more of a business side to that as
Okay.
well, and helping people in their businesses specifically. So it's not only mindset, there is a lot of mindset stuff, but there's also business structure and that type of stuff
Oh,
in the
okay.
high performance. But I think the Purpose Ways group coaching would be a great fit for you, and
Okay.
it's way more affordable than before. So check it out. You can go to
All right.
purposeways.com and check it out. And that's
Perfect.
WAZE, um,
Like the GPS
like the
app.
GPS. You wanna
Okay.
you wanna hear why it's Purpose Ways? Could
No,
you
yeah, was it?
what's your best guess? Let me hear what's your best guess as to why Purpose Ways.
Okay. It's one of two things. It's either you called it that because of a you're doing a play on words, like instead of WAYS, or it has something to do with that GPS analogy that you have used before.
Time and time again. It's some of both. It works for both,
Okay.
because if it is that I could help you put your understand your current location, get through your trauma, get through all these things that you're going through, help you understand your paradigms, understand what's holding you back. That's your current location. And then take you to your purpose, your destination, and then the turn by turn directions. So every single time you're like, I want to do this, but I'm scared. The GPS is telling me that I got to do this. You
Yeah.
know what text I get, almost like at least once a week, of somebody that wants to quit, and they're like, I
Oh.
am terrified and I got to help them through it. And so if it is that I could be your GPS, I could be your guide to help you get to
Mhm.
your purpose, then so be it. And I want to be that for everyone. So that's why we created
Okay.
Perfect Ways.
All right. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Maybe I'll be a tougher nut to crack. Maybe you'll be able to help me. Maybe not. Well, before I dive into the stuff that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you ever remember one of the first IG messages. He's like, "How am I going to remember you, girl?" I get like a
I
thousand
actually
IGs.
do. I actually
What?
do. I
No,
do.
sir. You
Yeah,
do?
I do.
Okay.
And
All
you've
right.
asked about multifamily. You've asked several things. I
I
do. I
okay,
do
yeah,
remember.
okay, that's true. That was when you did mention something that made me go, oh, something wrong with my mindset. But before that, or maybe I told Josh, but before that, before I knew your last name, um, I told people that you have this way of during your sessions, almost I feel like I'm staring into my soul. And it's like you bring this mirror, and I'm forced, the more you talk, the more I have to look, I have to, you're forcing me to reflect on the inner me. And then I found out what your name So I used to call you Keston the Mirror Man. And then I found out that your name was Glass, had glass in it. I'm like, are you kidding me? But yeah, you had this powerful session with, oh my gosh, I'm Josh Nerber. That was one of the a very powerful session. Yeah, and Josh was getting his mindset fixed, but the rest of us were like bawling on the on the session. Okay, so let
He
me
then
tell you.
became one of my high performance
He sure did. I
coaches.
know. I saw that. Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that. I had conversations with him after that. All right. You saw an
Talk to me.
individual. You saw an individual go in the back. That is part of my listen. I told I told Pace that even though I hadn't yet purchased or acquired any property, that the amount of money I paid for sub two, in my opinion, has more than paid for itself with the amount of mindset shift that had
Mm,
happened in my life. For those who don't know, I'm of Nigerian descent. So there's such a scarcity mindset. Um, I didn't know what that meant. People, meeting Pace, I thought the whole thing was a scam. There's no way people, people who are successful and prosperous would ever want to turn around and help the next person, because
mm,
all I had grown up seeing was people making money and they run, right? So I've gone through a lot of mindset shift thanks to you and Creighton and etc. One thing I still struggle with, and I'm finally in the multifamily field. I'm doing my first raise, but one thing I'm struggling with is balance. Right, I'm a single mom, 3 kids, work 2 jobs, and then I'm learning this entrepreneurial thing, which I never thought I was going to do. Balance has been a challenge, not just because I'm a single mom, but because 2 of my 3 kids have ADHD. They're gifted, but this becomes a very emotionally charged environment every single day. Sorry, I did tell him not to
okay.
do that. So, my question to you is, in my attempt to maintain peace or move the family forward, prior to all of this, I haven't always had a forward thinking mindset in my relations with them. I have a teenager now. How do I teach them this mindset thing when I'm still struggling to learn it myself?
Hmm.
That's where I'm struggling with, because it's something I want to pass along to them,
Hmm.
but I don't have any mastery over it, because I still find myself saying things and people would say, oh, that's wrong mindset if you change it, which I'm grateful. I'm like, oh, I thought I had already, reached the peak of my mindset journey, but guess not. So how do I even pass this along to the kids so that I don't see a repetition, the generational thing? I don't see a repetition of that, because um, the I'm trying to be like you, where you're very gracious about the other person. Um, there isn't always a consistent great example around them from a parental standpoint.
Sure, sure.
So yeah, that's one thing. So it's balance, and how do I pass this along to them?
Okay, so let's talk about the first part of the question, which is
Mhm.
balance. Um, I absolutely hate the word balance. I don't like
Oh
it at
Lord
all.
Jesus.
I don't like it at all. Um,
Okay.
because balance, and I read a book where somebody perfectly described it as when balance on a scale is zero, right? Like, so that's
Mhm.
zero.
Yeah, yeah, equilibrium of sorts. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So why not give everything 100%? Now, here's how you do that.
Okay.
To be able to give everything 100%, you need that thing that's called a calendar, and you need to get real good at it.
Okay.
And you need to be able to map out and know when what you're doing and when you're doing it. Because when you map out and you know what you're doing and when you're doing it, then you can now train your mind to be when you're with the kids, you're with the kids. When you're working,
Mm.
everyone knows that you're working and they would give you the grace to know like, hey, and here's how you make this even more amazing is you sit with them and you go through it with them. And so they know, say, hey guys, I want to be able to spend time with you guys during the week. These are the times I'm looking at. What do you think? Right? Make them a part of that journey, that decision making process. My son loves when I make him a part of the decision making process. He just turned a teenager on
I
Sunday.
saw that. I
So
saw
like,
that.
and that's something that we've learned pretty early, that if we allow him, we would say things like, hey, what time you thinking about taking a shower today? And then he would be like, well, I could do it around 2. I'm like, how about 1? He'd be like, okay, right? He's now a part of the decision making process. It's very different than go take a shower, right? And so
I mean, there is a calendar that they should follow. Showers at 6. They should do this, and why haven't you done this? And then there's yelling, and then we listen. This is my house. This is my rules, and this is how you're going to follow. Make them part of the decision making process, okay?
make them a part of it.
Oh
When
Lord.
you make them a part of it, that becomes a lot easier. You don't have to do
All
that
right.
anymore. And
Okay.
so, and they would also know, and I've heard my son, he's said it. He's like, I feel like you respect me.
Yeah.
And I know that as parents, it should be like what? Like you need to respect me, right?
Yeah.
But it's making them a part of the decision making process makes them feel heard, and everyone wants to feel heard. And so that would also tie into you being able to give them 100% when you do spend time with them, and you don't have parent guilt and mom guilt and that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the first part. And why do I say that this trumps balance is because now mentally you could know that even when you're thinking about doing something, you could think about it, but you could also say, nope, iffy, like sit. You train your mind like almost like a dog, right? You're like sit.
Yeah.
I'm doing that at 8 p.m. tonight. I don't have to think about that right now. I already have a slotted time for that. Come back, be present. Be present in this moment. And so you start to train your mind because now you give your mind a time slot. You're like, nope, I'm doing that at 5 p.m. I don't need to think about that right now.
Mm,
Sit.
I gotcha.
And so you start to categorize when your mind think about things, and when you're there, you give it 100%.
Hmm. Okay. How detailed is this calendar? Is it hour
So
by hour?
yeah, so
Oh Lord
there's
Jesus.
I use a few, right? Because you got the main block calendar where you go through and you plan like, okay, this is this person's birthday, main events, things that you want to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your week where, because every week things may change, so you look at your month ahead and it's like, okay, this is what I remember, this is what I know now. Every
Mm-hmm.
week things may change. You may have meetings that is not on there, you got an appointment set, whatever, right? So you kind of map that out.
Mm-hmm.
But the every hour calendar, that should be, we call it in high performance, your model week. That should be your model week. And your model week is, in a perfect world, this is what I'm going to be doing at these times. And so you want to be able to know on Friday at 6 p.m. that's date night, or that's time with the kids. Like that's a no touch zone, right? You know that. The reason why you gotta take what you're already programmed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and insert the other things into it. And so we're already programmed to, and we know that once we're in a groove, in a process, that our bodies just move. And so let's just give our bodies a process that's easy
Mm.
for us to understand. And so in this model week, hey April, in this model week, you're able to just follow the process. Your body gets used to it, so it's less thinking now. So now you have
Mm.
more brain power. Now
Mm.
you're able to give yourself 100% for everything, and you have more brain power. So it does take work,
Mm.
and I'll tell you, I was super frustrated, super to tears. I'll be honest, to tears when
Yeah.
I first started doing this.
Wow.
It was super frustrating,
It
but
seems like a lot of work up front.
it is a lot of work up front. It's a lot of mental energy to think and plan ahead. But
Mm.
once you get it, I assure you, man, oh my goodness. It's like
Mm.
it's life changing, really.
Okay.
And then you'd realize how much time you really waste is what you're gonna realize.
Uh, okay. Trying to think. I used to waste time. I used to. I had more time for things like Netflix and YouTube, and now my days are just back to back to back to back. I just realized that. I know this sounds really. I was thinking of this the other day. Let me tell you. You know how in scripture it talks about the sins and weights that easily besets us? So you can have a
Sure.
weight that's not necessarily a sin. And I know this is a very backward way of thinking it, but I was thinking the other day that I'm so busy with my capital reason stuff. I don't even have time for those weights anymore. Because something like YouTube, Netflix will be a weight, you know? I'm like, I don't even have time for those things anymore. 'Cause I'm so busy. But I think I would like to inject a measure of efficiency into my day. For instance, um, I was on a call with Larry West,
Mhm.
and he's captured on Zoom. He was talking, it was March 15th, and he was talking about how that was the last day to file an extension. And I was literally like this. I was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say now? I had totally forgotten. Meanwhile, I have someone that can do taxes for me. I've referred people to him. He sent me the email to upload my documents. It's on my mental to do list. I promised him I would do it that day. It's March 21st. Haven't done it. So I feel like with all I'm juggling, I feel I'm juggling. I'm sometimes not juggling well. Balls drop like my deadline, which I made it on time, but that's why I think I need help in is injecting a little more efficiency into my day. I will probably still be tired. It'll probably still be hectic, but I think I'll have more accomplished in my day, and that gives you drive. That sense of accomplishment is totally
Yeah,
helpful. And sometimes I just don't have it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. It definitely helps. And the second part to your question was
Passing it on to the next generation.
passing it on. And
Yeah.
there are two ways you can handle this.
Yeah.
And I'll probably do it both ways as well. So you could only do and help in ways that you know how to help, right? You can't help them in ways that you don't. And so what we do know, based on a lot of things that we've talked about, is like vibration and the energy that you're around.
Mm-hmm.
And so finding the right atmosphere and environment of people for them to be around is one way that you could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the being able to put them in the right atmosphere, and I put right in air quotes because that would be depending on your judgment, right? What's the right
Mhm.
environment for them? Um, and understand that that may also make you uncomfortable or them uncomfortable, because if you put them in an environment where they're used to, then it's probably people with the same paradigms, right? Um, so
Yeah.
it should be a little challenging because it may be different,
Okay.
and it's going to be the same for you even as you go on your journey and you continue to learn and you put yourself in an environment to help you. If you don't want to learn and then be able to pass it down,
Mhm.
you got to help them help themselves right now to be able to learn things themselves, put them in the environment. That would be the hack, I would say,
Mm.
you could do for your kids to be able to learn from their environment, but you create that environment. You intentionally put them and plant them in that environment.
Okay.
As you both grow, you could come together, and some of the things could be replenished that way.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
anytime it's comfortable, it's not it's not gonna be the thing that you're looking for. It's gonna be anything of comfort.
Yeah.
Tells you that you're in the same place. Does
Hey,
that make sense?
Justin. Yes, it does. Sorry. Say hey to Justin and Mina. It
Hey,
it it
Jess.
it does. So, in other words, my approach, which was buy the flashcards of uh 10 or 13 habits of highly effective people, hand it to my oldest and say, hey, read this and follow it. Probably not the best idea.
Nah, he's
It
gonna
was a shot.
he's gonna hate it. He's gonna
He
he's
he
gonna
did.
reject it.
He did.
Yeah,
It's in my
he's gonna
room now. Yeah.
reject it. See, nobody likes to be told what to do. Um, Not even kids, right? And although
Yeah.
they should just listen because we're the parents, like just listen to your
Hmm.
parents.
Yeah.
Um, Nevertheless, nobody likes to be told what to do. And so making
Yeah.
them a part of this decision, making it fun to be able to receive is definitely a major piece in being able to reach and be to connect with them, you know.
Okay.
But again, what I'm saying to you right now sounds logical and sounds good, but your paradigms is going to go back and do a lot of the same things.
I don't think so, since I've gotten to the point where I've accepted that things have to change, and I've witnessed a lot of change. Like I said, if I could credit Sub 2 with anything, it's
Yeah.
this transformation and my willingness
Mm.
to change.
Yeah.
And actually, I was telling a trainee recently at work, I said, you have to be uncomfortable in order to experience change. And I think I'm at the point where I'm being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Case in point, raising capital with my previous money mindset, right?
Yeah.
Not the most comfortable thing to do.
Absolutely.
Not the way I was raised. You don't ask for money. Money is the root of all evil, So, but I haven't done it before, but I'm excited to see who I'll be at the end of the process, because I know I'm going to go through a lot of transformation through this process. So
Mhm.
I'm catching what you're throwing. I'm catching it.
That's no, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love your awareness. I love your awareness because it's through awareness could you really have real change and say, man,
mm,
I like this is happening and I wanted to change. So I
yeah,
really admire that that awareness that you have. And now it's a matter of becoming more aware, more conscious, right?
yeah,
That's the key, that consciousness, that light, because there are places in us that's dark, and
Yeah.
everything we don't know is darkness. And so once we start becoming aware and being more conscious of things, that's light being shone upon that area. And so um continue to grow, continue to put yourself in these
I'm
places.
trying. I'm
I
trying.
know.
I'm trying.
That's
I
why I
love it
say
though.
that's why I said I really, really, really admire that.
Thank you.
Now what
Okay.
was go ahead.
All right. Okay. Got another one for you.
Let's do
You
it.
ready? You ready? I
I'm
don't know if
ready.
you're ready. Every every time, every single time you walk someone down that path of their wee why, I'm like, and they always find it. They figure it out. I'm like, son of a, I can figure it. Okay, so so listen. Before real estate, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go way back to when I was out of college,
Mhm.
back in Nigeria. I vividly remember um, praying about it. What's my purpose? Why am I here? But in the context of, everyone has been given a gift. Some people know what. Uh, for some people, it's kind of very obvious. You have the gift of singing, then you go into the choir. You have a gift of this. I just couldn't figure mine out. So I've been on the quest to figure out what this is from way, 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 way before this, entrepreneurial thing.
Mhm.
Now, when you talk about helping the either younger or former version of yourself, um, I struggle with that, and I'll tell you why. And I'm trying to say this in the most politically correct. So, I went through an unfortunate set of circumstances from a marital standpoint.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't want to believe that my purpose, my purpose is tied to the fact that I had to go through those unfortunate circumstances in order to help um, the younger version of myself. So I'll just throw this out there. Um, I don't, I don't necessarily feel called. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I don't necessarily feel called to help women who are going through a domestic violence situation. That may be my calling, but I kind of struggle with that. Like, did I have to go through that to help somebody that, do you see where I'm going to? Like, what if I never went through that? What couldn't my purpose be something else? So I just haven't figured it out. That's why I said I'm a tough nut to crack in that area.
Well, let's talk about it.
All
Um,
right.
and I want to go back to saying that um, I could do a lot of things, Effie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do a lot of things. I have built the desk that my wife and I now have, and it's I went and I bought exposed wood and sanded it down, and like it looks amazing, right? It's a really nice desk. I also built barn doors, and so
Oh.
you don't know that about me, right? I could
No, I thought you were a
also
computer geek.
the opposite, right? And so I could also change. I've changed my spark plugs, the rotors, like all these different things. Like I'm very handy
Okay.
when it comes to certain things. You may not know I'm a used to be a DJ. So when
I
it comes to
remember.
music, um, used to be a cybersecurity engineer.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I used to be like so fix computers and stuff back in the day, build them, all that type of stuff. Um, and I say all that to say that we may have many different talents. It doesn't mean that those are our gifts. Those are the things that we're supposed to do,
Mm.
right? So,
Yeah.
so with that, I believe that who would have thought that my purpose and the thing that I'm supposed to be that I'm supposed to be doing is tied to me running my mouth, right? Like, although I used to tell my friends like years ago, like, man, I want to get paid to think. Like, how could I get paid to think? Because I feel like I always have these like really great perspectives and different ideas and things like that. Had no idea how I could do it, and so it was something that was put on the side. Um, and so now you take all your experiences and the things that you've been through, and you're like, well, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And so my parents, they've been telling me, they've been trying to push me, like, you should be a they I don't think they ever really said coach. They used to say that I should be a pastor, right? And
Oh,
I'm like,
there.
nope, that's not, like, nope, that ain't for me. God ain't told me that, right? And
Yep.
and then they would say, like, you could help a lot of people and all these things. And it was all things that I did not want to do. And even when the person who reached out to me, the first guy that reached out to me and said, Keston, I want you to coach me because I believe that you could do it. I believe that you may not believe that you can, but I believe you can. I was still resistant to doing it until I gave in. And I'll tell you what was going on in that point in time in my life was I stopped wanting to do things my way and I wanted to do it God's way. And so the opinions and the things that I had on my life, I just started to submit them. I started to, like, like, what I know and what I've done has gotten me to the place that I was at that time. And
Mm,
so I started to open myself to possibilities, regardless of if it was something I loved, I enjoyed, I whatever. And lo and behold, that, man, I enjoyed the crap out of coaching. I was like, hold
hmm,
on. The thing that I never thought, like, my parents have been pushing me towards,
hmm.
is the thing that I end up really loving. And so I say all that to say that don't discount it until you try it. And you, and it's not, use the experience and share from a place of authenticity, not to be a coach, not to be this thing that, um, but just to help someone. And you don't have to do it on a
Mm.
big scale. Just help someone through something and see how it makes you feel.
Okay, I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't the shouldn't I have been completely mentally and emotionally healed before I even attempt to do that? Because Lord knows I have compartmentalized because I am focused on this business that I'm doing and it's going to win and
Yeah.
I have grit. And so I've pushed all the take care of myself component. It's
Mm-hmm.
in some box
Yeah.
somewhere, gathering
Yeah.
dust in my mind. And my plan is when I've made it, then I'll have time to, to
Yeah.
unwind and start processing the things that happen better.
Amazing question.
Mm.
Um, no, I don't think so.
What? Hey, what?
No, I don't think so. Because you could help people through your healing process. I wish I could tell you that I was this absolutely, like, figured out guy that has the absolute perfect marriage, that have the absolute perfect like matter of fact, I use the things that go on in my marriage, in my everyday life, and I share with you guys my vulnerability. That's probably why people take to when I take to me, because I don't keep it in. I just share it because that's what people relate to. We're all a work in progress. Going
Hmm.
to going to someone when they've made it, and if anyone ever tells you that they've made it and they have no more work to do, you should run. You should not want to be listening to that person,
Yeah.
because there's always work to do. Nobody is getting to that absolute like even have do you know like Joe Dispenza and those types of guys? Like,
I've heard of.
so Joe Dispenza, Bob Proctor, like Tony Robbins, all these
Oh
guys,
yeah, Tony Robbins. I know.
they all say, because people always ask them, like, so what's your house like? You're the big mindset guy, right? You should be perfect. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, no, not at all. But what we may have is a system as to how to get back on track. So it
Hmm.
doesn't take away the ability or the that piece of getting upset and like losing a crap sometimes or whatever. It's the ability to be aware
Yeah.
to get back on track. That's and how quickly could you do it? That's all we're working towards. How
Hmm.
quickly could we do it and eventually hopefully master that piece so that our responses are different eventually, right? But that's what we're working towards. So,
Hmm.
does that make sense?
It does. It does. Okay. Fine. Maybe I was just using it as an excuse. Who knows? Uh, who knows?
Test it
I
out.
know.
Try it. Try them. You never know until you help someone, and it's that feeling that you get where it's just like you're gonna know that feeling. Like it's you're
Hmm.
just gonna feel it on the inside, and then here's the other thing that you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel like I can't make money doing this. Like there's no way, right? But you can. You could figure out a way. Um,
Hmm.
so
Hmm. All right. I have to
what
let
else
that
you
one.
got before we wrap up?
I have to let that one simmer. Okay. Let us talk one real estate related thing that affects my life. How did you go about your first capital raise for your, not maybe your fix and flip or Airbnbs, but for your first larger multifamily?
Tell me, ask, be more specific. Like, how did I go about it?
Um, okay, I think one thing you may have had that I don't is you already had a runway. You were already involved in real estate. People kind of knew you were doing that before you pivoted or introduced multifamily um, to your portfolio.
Yeah.
I don't have that much of a. I wasn't a wholesaler, Airbnb, or a fix and flipper, just a critical care pharmacist. So I feel the pitch for me, it's more of a steeper uphill battle, right? To get people to accept that well, not necessarily to get people to accept that I'm in real estate. I've been making that very, very obvious, but to see me as an authority figure, because I don't have a well developed resume beyond the deals I'm working on and the deal I'm passively invested in. So
Mhm.
maybe I could turn my question around and say, hey, Keston, I'm capital raising for a 506B opportunity. What advice would you give me as my first raise first raise, first deal in general is always the hardest. Once you get over that hurdle, it gets easier. So I guess what nuggets do you have?
Why do you think it gets easier?
You have proof of concept. You've done it before. I'm able to. So before I became a passive investor, I was able, all I could say was, "Hey, terribly interested in this." Not, and then I was now able to say, not only am I interested in this, I'm invested in this. Hey, look, I spent this amount, and this is what I have. After my raise, I could then say, hey, my team and we closed on X, Y, and Z. I have that to at least stand on. It may be a three-legged stool, but it's still a stool that I can stand on to take me to the next level. Even though the next raise may be more and higher. And so the challenge would be still present, but I think the delta going from nothing to the first one is steep-ish for me.
And that only exists in your mind.
Oh dear Lord, here I knew he was gonna go back to the I knew it. I knew it.
It only exists in your mind. And the reason why I say it only exists in your mind is because if you listen to why, you'd feel better because you would have more confidence, right? You'd have more confidence. Confidence is something that you could develop today, but it comes from a self-image from within. And I understand what you mean. I totally get it. Conceptually, I
Yeah.
100% get it. But if it is that you were to think from being a capital raiser versus thinking of being a capital raiser, things would be very different. So if you think from it, what would your attitude be? You described it before. You described thinking from it as after closing on your deal, because now you think you're like, oh, I've done it. Thinking of it is what you're doing now. It's so far. It's far-fetched. It's like, it's over there. I haven't done it yet, so I see myself down here. When you think from it, you are more confident and you're like, oh, I could say this and I could do this and I could do that. And that's what keeps back people. That's what keeps people back all the time. And if it is, you don't see yourself and believe and walk in, I am already a capital raiser. I am already whatever you perceive yourself to be. Because when you perceive yourself to be it, people respect you differently. All of a sudden, they're like, how much money do you need? Right? Like, because you got to remember, I started right where you were. It doesn't matter if you're raising $10 or $1 million. The questions are going to be the same. Your response is going to have to be the same. Like, you're going to be exactly as nervous. The nerves don't feel different. You still feel nervous. So the question becomes, how do you think from it? You got to feel that emotion. Like, you got to visualize it. Like, what would that look like? Have that emotion in being able to see it and feel it, and then just walk in it. Think from it. Like, walk as it.
That's the definition of faith.
You
The
picked it
evidence
up.
of Hebrews. That's the definition of faith. Okay. All right.
But isn't this what we're commanded to do?
Yeah. You're not gonna take an offering after this, are you? No, I'm just kidding. After my capital raise, maybe can pay you tithe at that point, but right now
You
I'm kind of
are
good.
hilarious, Iffy. Oh my god! If I knew you was this cool, oh my goodness. You'd have hung out like 10 times already. Oh man, you're silly. Uh no, no, no.
But
No,
yeah, no, we
no.
are commended. We are commended. You are right. You are right. It is a mindset thing. I thought I had my mindset all right, but I think there was just one more step I needed to take, and that was it.
There's a lot more steps, Iffy.
No, no, sorry. Let me rephrase. Capital
Okay.
raising. So when I first sent you that text about multifamily, if you had said something to me, I would have said absolutely not. There's no way I can do it. I've gotten over that hump.
Yeah.
I believe I can do it, but then again, I think I needed this nudge, probably more nudges, but I think I needed
Sure.
this nudge to actually um, activate me properly.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I have heard time and time and time and time and time and time and time again
Mm.
that man, it's just something about you.
Mm.
There's just something about you. Like I don't have the credentials that everyone else has,
Mm.
but there's just something about you that makes me want to test. And you know what's crazy? When I interview a ton of people, some people have that story where somebody just it's just something, some gut feeling that somebody has that makes them want to trust in this person, and that's because that person is walking from it. They're like, man, I am gonna do this deal, and I got you, you could trust me. You can't fake that. People pick up on that
Yeah.
vibe. People pick
Yeah.
up on that. They
Yeah.
pick up on your confidence.
Yeah.
You know why people say no? Because they're like, not really
Mm.
confident.
She's kind of iffy.
Exactly.
No, I get it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of that goes into it. But
Mm.
when you think from it
Yeah.
and you show up as it and you're like, hey, this is what this is the deal. This is the return. And you leverage other people's credentials as you do it. It don't have to be you, but they're gonna smell your confidence, man.
Mm.
But
All
that
right.
confidence only comes from thinking from it.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Thank you. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Thank you. See all the stuff we chatted about? Thank
Absolutely,
you
man.
so much. This is
You
amazing.
you have what it takes to be a rock star. You definitely
Thank
do.
you.
And
Thank you.
it's a matter of really just walking into it. Just walking
Mm.
into it. And we all have the paradigms that we have to master and get through. But keeping these thoughts and reading and just being plugged in
Hmm.
at the forefront of our minds is the key to continuing to keep going to other levels and other levels and just continuing to grow.
Mm.
So I'm already proud of you and
Thank you.
where you're going,
Thank
um,
you.
because it's I know you have that warrior like figure it out, get it done type of thing in
Grit.
you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So super 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 proud of you. Any
Thank
final words before we sign out?
I I honestly want to thank you so much. I know you hear this all the time, how you've been a huge impact. But if anyone ever told me 8 months ago that I would, be in a room with someone like you definitely are one of the top people that have impacted my life, honestly. And it's more than houses. It's really more than houses, because if I pass away, I hope not to, but if I pass away today, um, I'm so glad about the amount and degree of transformation I've gone through. It's something that money could not buy. Money can buy property, money cannot buy the change that I've gone through from a mental perspective. So I want to thank you because it's not only impacting me, it's going to impact my children, and hopefully as a measure of success, my grandchildren. The ability of my kids to pass this on to their kids, that's how I'm going to measure my success. So thank you so so much for this platform. I also want to thank me for being your best guest, even though I'm not your last, but I'm your best. But I'm so grateful that I'm on here today, so thank me. I'm so grateful. No. So-
Oh my god.
such a mess.
Oh my god.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
my
I want
god.
to thank all the
Somebody
guests. I
get
saw a
Iffy
lot
out
of
of the studio, yo. Somebody get her.
sorry.
Oh my goodness.
No,
Too
thank
funny.
you. Thank you so much. I'm an introvert. Most people don't know. I break out of my shell for real estate and pharmacy life. So being able to break out confidently, again, that mindset shift. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here. Thank you for allowing me to pour into you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
it definitely fulfills me. So thank you so
Mm,
much, Iffy.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, guys. Guys, what an amazing day 21 with Iffy. What a character, but absolutely amazing person. And she's going to crush it. She's going to crush it. She has clarity as to setting up herself, giving everything 100%. Like that's one of the things that I'm super passionate about is not shortchanging and giving every single thing 100%, especially when you're plugged in. We all go through paradigms. We all have different things that's super super and like it keeps us back, and we may or may not be aware of it. And I just want to remind you guys that having a community of people who are going in the same direction to help each person be able to thrive um, in this time of transformation is probably one of the most important things you could do. Don't let it be like church on a Sunday where you just get motivated one day and you lose motivation or direction by the time you get out of the garage or the parking lot on a Sunday. Like you have to be plugged into community. Um, and that's what we do here. So go to purposeways.com, purpose WAZE, and join the community. Join the Purpose Ways group coaching. It's absolutely a phenomenal group coaching session that I've created, and we're gonna be starting on in April. April, I think it's April like 6th or 7th, that Thursday at 6 p.m. and onwards. And so I look forward to everyone who's already signed up. I look forward to everyone who is gonna be a part of this community, because my goal is to have people who are thirsting for transformation, like just desire it so much because it means so much to them to change their family's life, to really pass down generational wealth, which I believe is generational knowledge that then turns into assets. All right, guys, day 21 is a wrap. Catch you guys tomorrow for day 22. Peace and love. Catch you guys tomorrow.